We were kids with dreams and no sense of reality, and survived, and we're here. Those are the kind of moments in a life that you just don't get over.
So without any further ado, enjoy the show.
Thank you.
I always get a little nervous when you have to show a film here because in many ways it's like bringing something home to the family.
Yeah, it's shot in Toronto, but you're trying to make it look like New York. I said, yeah, that's great. You know, that's not bad. Because the city's like an actor.
Premiering a movie that took me 20 years to make in front of 2,000 people makes me want to cry.
I mean, there was a time that I can remember when people said, well, film will die. It hasn't and it won't, and it's great.
It's now my pleasure to welcome our moderator for today, Eric Kohanek, and the director, writer, and members of the cast for Man Down.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference for Man Down, festival gala presentation. It will have its festival premiere tonight at the at Roy Thompson Hall. With us today, we have the director of the film, Dito Montiel, sitting next to me. Next to Dito is Shia LaBeouf, who takes on the central role of Gabriel Drummer, the soldier who is on an emotional quest to reunite himself with his family. Next to Shia, we have Kate Mara, who plays Gabriel's wife, Natalie, in the film. And last but certainly not least, we have Adam Simon, who is the writer of the film. We have a pretty tight schedule and a limited amount of time, so if you can direct your questions and concentrate on the film, that would be great. We have microphone runners who will give you a mic. I'll start off by Dito, by asking you on the origins of the project and how it came together.
I have to hit, oh yeah, okay. Well, you know, I read it and it was moved, you know, so start messing around with it and you know, you try to find something in it that sort of touches you, so a lot of things kind of hit me in it, so here I am, you know.
And Adam, how did you bring the project to Dito, or how did that come together?
Through loose affiliations with various nefarious individuals. No, I'm just kidding. It went through a producer that I had a contact with, and ended up with Empower Pictures, and then they, I believe, got it into Dito's hands from there.
We've got a question down front, but first, tell me what inspired the story. How did you write it?
Pain and agony. No, I was living on the street when I started writing Man Down. In fact, there's a letter that Gabriel writes to his son Jonathan in the film. Was a letter that I wrote to my son in a parking garage where I slept, where I stayed the night. So I wrote that in a few other scripts and was just trying to hustle for about 6 to 8 months, the story started off being a little autobiographical, and I got away from that because I felt like it was much more important to tell the story of veterans that I kept coming in contact with on the street that were in the same predicament that I was.
Right. Question down front here. We have a mic. Right in the front row, Bruce.
Bruce Kirkland, Toronto Sun. This question, I'm not sure who wants to handle it, but go for it. One of the intriguing things about American cinema right now is there's a lot of very specific event-based war movies, contemporary war movies. This is not one of them. This is something on a different level, emotionally and in an abstract in a way, and yet very specific to the individual people. So I'm curious if any of you want to address that, including Shai, because you play the central character. So.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really compelling story, and more a father than a soldier. That soldier stuff was sort of sidebar, everything else was far more important to the script and when we all got together. But we had Nick Jones Jr. with us the whole time, and we got the war stuff right, I think. But yeah, that was sort of sidebar, not to downplay it or anything, but just personally, it was less of a priority than the family stuff and stuff here.
And Adam, choosing to make it an abstract rather than a specific event-based?
For me, I feel like it's all from Gabriel's point of view. And so the audience can see, kind of go through that experience of his mindset, where he's at, and suffer with him, and suffer that confusion and kind of the disorienting nature of the war at home, which definitely is more significant than the war abroad. So taking them through that journey I think opens people up to understanding people who are in that kind of a mindset and a predicament. Yeah, thank you.
Dito, maybe you can talk a bit about the casting of this, and what was it? I know you and Shai have worked together before, but what was it that immediately made you want to bring him into the project?
Well,
or was it immediate?
It was immediate, yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of both these guys, big time, kind of going off your question, which I think goes into this thing, is, when I read it, my father had epilepsy, so he would have grand mal seizures, and once when I was a kid, they'll bite your hand off, So I put my hand in his mouth, and through it all, he could still see me, and he sort of used a little bit left to ease up, which is a big deal. And so when I was reading it, I kept thinking, boy, who can get that moment right? That even through the madness, they can still see something, their kid, So I was messing with the script a bit, and I called Shai up. I said, hey man, take a look, see what you think, And he said, yeah, kind of cool, And then Kate was the first person I thought of, because that's a pretty tough role to anchor down that thing and not be a wimp, So then they both were like, it's pretty cool. They had their notes, and then we're here, Weird way to go about it, but that's what happened.
And Shai, your immediate reaction when you saw the script?
Yes.
Yes. and what was it about the character that sort of drew you in first?
He reminded me of, the dad I had, and also the dad I wanted. The father-son stuff reminded me of Kramer versus Kramer. That's my favorite movie. So there's like those pancake scenes, but it was harder. It was like Deer Hunter meets Kramer versus Kramer if I was pitching it to somebody. But just some of my favorite movies, it had the soul of that, and I knew I'd be with my friends, and it just felt like a really good move for me.
We have a question in the middle there. We'll get a microphone to you. In the meantime, Adam, maybe you can talk about the structure of the story. It's a jigsaw puzzle that comes together. Is this the way you wrote it at first, or was it something that was adapted?
Yes.
Yes?
I knew everything from the beginning. No, I'm just kidding. It went through a lot of revisions, but that structure was exactly how I wanted to tell it, that having these storylines going simultaneously, and going around to the different scenarios, because that's the state of Gabriel's mind, right? Like, it's disjointed. And so having the audience walk through that kind of crucible with him that was always on the table, that structure.
Question back there.
Fabian Winter for Latin America. I have a question for Jaya and Kate. Having so many movies about post-apocalypse, that we say?
Apocalyptic.
Okay. What do you think, how do you picture the future of our world?
How do we picture the future of our world?
Oh. Just a little question.
Well, hopefully not.
Go for it.
Shia?
No, that's all you got.
He's the guy.
No, you grab the mic.
I hope that the future of our world is not as pictured in this picture. Man, I don't know. What? I'm just an actor.
We're in a tough spot. The world's in a tough spot. It's like World War III, right? You know, you're in the middle of something really wild going on right now. So, yeah. More so than ever in my life, I think.
Dito, maybe you can talk about the visual images then of the future vision of the, without giving too much away.
Well, we tried to, Shelley Johnson shot it, who's pretty great, We tried to keep it as honest and real as possible. We shot it in New Orleans, which unfortunately Katrina has taken care of the post-apocalyptic look of some of it. So we tried to just base everything on reality, We didn't want to mess too much with things. This is an honest story. In the end, I think you can watch it again and you can say that we didn't cheat, kind of like good old Twilight Zones or whatnot, So a lot of that was just looking for cool locations, and we found some pretty remarkable places, for good or for bad,
Kate, talk a bit about Natalie and what you saw in that character and what you sort of zoomed in on first as you were developing her in your mind.
Well, I've always wanted to work with both Ditto and Shia. After seeing Ditto's first movie, A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, and I reached out to Ditto years ago. We met just because I wanted to work with him, and we kind of stayed in touch. And when he sent me the script, he didn't tell me who was playing Gabriel, and so I wrote him back and said, well, yeah, I really like the script, but who's the guy? Because if it's not the right guy, I don't care. And he said Shia, and I was like, yes, I want to do that. So it was really a joint effort. I mean, Shia and I spent a lot of time together before we started shooting, just talking about the script and talking about our relationship, and we spent a lot of time with our kid too. And that was really the most helpful thing, I think, for the story for us. So then when we got to New Orleans, it just felt easy. I mean, there's some really hard scenes in there, but we really trusted each other, and our kid really trusted us, and so that just made the whole thing really effortless.
Shia, talk a bit about Charlie Shotwell. And you guys have a really good chemistry together. He plays Jonathan, the Gabriel's son.
Little boy, it's my boy. I love him. I probably should be speaking to him more, but he's a busy little boy.
I saw him in LA.
Yeah, I know. I felt guilty about it.
I'm a good
mother. Yeah. It never went away. We still got a little tribe, I love the kid, and he's a brilliant actor and open and, incredible to watch and willing. And his mother was very willing, and it was a wild set to be on.
Ditto, the filming sequence, how did you film the movie? Which scenes? I mean, you had to obviously film several of them twice or multiple times in order to create that parallel existence.
Yeah, we started with the crazy stuff first, which was pretty intense, jump under the table and whatnot. And it was all about the beard, We didn't want to put a fake beard on Shia. And so we went really hard into the film. It was in some ways I'm kind of glad we did. I was worried about it at first. Like how are we going to back off that and have a normal family? But I'm really happy that we did jump in so hard. I mean, they were ready for it, and that's a big part of it.
And Shia, jumping into it that hard. I mean, obviously that role is an emotional roller coaster. Did you feel different when you had full facial hair and long hair? Did it have an impact on when you looked at yourself and how to portray the character in the various ways?
I'm sure on some level, yeah, for sure.
And was the transition then an easy one to shave off and go to the Marine look?
Yeah, I mean, hair seems to be a really yeah, I got it. Yeah, that was part of it for sure. That was part of it. That's a really tough one to answer. I don't know really what you're asking me.
Well, I probably don't know what I'm asking either, but it's a tough. You're almost playing a couple of different characters in this.
Oh, I don't think so. No, I think people have shades. I don't think I'm playing. We all got shades. Yeah.
and exploring the various shades of the character with the help of the physical look, is that something that's a helpful element, or is that something that really doesn't matter to you as an actor?
No, it definitely matters. Yeah, for sure matters. Yeah, your shoes matter. You know, everything matters. Yeah. I'm sure there's a better answer somewhere in my mind. I just don't have it right now for you.
I can say that for me, because I had scenes with him. Right, didn't I had scenes with him in both
Right.
facial hair and none. And I get what Shai is saying. It doesn't matter, but it also, for me, his spirit felt lighter whenever he got rid of all that. So to me, it was as if I was not two different people, but it did feel different. I mean, I remember you shaving. The next day, we were all like, who is this person?
Bruce, you have a question again? Sorry.
Bruce Kirkland again. I'm always curious about the effect or potential effect of a film that actually has some bottom to it, some meaning to it, some context to it. And I don't want to overstate the case, but in your country and in mine here in Canada, the care of veterans from the current wars that are raging is really kind of a crisis. And a lot of people are not doing enough about it. Do you see any potential for a film like this to have any effect? Or is that just reaching too far?
Yeah. We looked at each other, didn't we? Yeah, yes. And I think it's already happening. I mean, I'm seeing people talk about the treatment of homeless, those that are homeless in our country. We have a significant homeless problem. Again, and I want to say before I give what you're looking for here, is that this is a story about a family and about a father's search for his son. And what Ditto was saying earlier, the one person that he's able to see through the madness, right? And then eventually in that beautiful moment that they have under the table, rips my heart out every time I see it, he sees his wife, right? Like that's it, like that's the story. Be a better father, be a better friend, be a better person. But then there is this thing, like the treatment of veterans, and we're in the middle of an election season right now, so not getting like too crazy on this topic, but that what's deplorable is that we have a history, you and I, right, in our countries of people waving flags and getting people to vote, invoking the name of our veterans, of our brothers and sisters who go over there and serve so well. And then they cut those same programs that take care of veterans. And so as an artist, Stella Adler and Lee Strasberg and Sanford Meisner all taught that you need a cause and you need to give a voice for the people that don't have one. And I know this is long-winded, I'm gonna finish right here, but that it's ingrained into them not to talk about where they serve, but I can, you know. They fought for that right, for me to do that. So I can be a voice for that. And I hope that happens. I hope people take a look at how we treat our veterans and just how we treat people in general in both of our countries. So I hope that, sorry.
All right. We have another question back there. We'll get a mic to you. In the meantime, Ditto, maybe you can talk a bit about the character of the music in the film. You're an author, you're a musician as well.
I'm nuts about music, you know. Clint Mansell is pretty freaking great, you know. And, you know, it's kind of weird, you know. Like, I don't like to push the emotion too much. You know, this movie was just inevitable, you know. It really is. You're trying to get your kid. It's a big deal, you know. If anything, I can come across kind of heartless. I'm always like, who cares, you know? But I don't mean it, you know. Musically, I thought Clint did just beautiful stuff, and a lot of it didn't force the issue. You know, that was the main deal, you know. And then, you know, some of the songs were fun. You know, it was like the first song when they're going to training camp. I was like, I want something that should play in a Budweiser commercial. Like, totally cheesy, you know. So we're just going off to a fun situation that might not end up so fun, you know. But yeah, I'm a big fan of music, man, and Clint is pretty great. And you know, what else am I gonna say? Good stuff.
Question back there.
I went again for Shai and Kate. Could you tell what do you see of yourselves in your characters, and how much of them do you take home?
Yeah, yeah. There's not like I don't have like a big line, like this is the work and this is the life part. I'm sure there's a whole lot of him and me, Gabriel and me. And you do take it home, at least when you're working on it. And then you try to shake it and get into some other train of thought when you get out. But yeah, that's me up there. That's my soul up there. That's all I have to offer you, right, is just to bare my soul. All I do for a living is open up and let you look. So it's all me up there.
Well, yeah, how do I follow that? I mean, I really related to Nat's fire and her passion for her kid and her husband. There are lots of things that I related to. That said, I have never been married and I haven't been a mother, and I've not been through the experiences that she goes through. So there were things about it that I was just trying to figure out along the way.
Maybe you can talk about, or actually, Cheyenne, Kate, talk about when you read the script and you saw the various moments of revelation that were coming out. What were some of your reaction to? When you were reading it, were you confused at first as to where it was going, what it was about, and then when the moments of revelation happened, what was your reaction?
Well, I couldn't put the script down. I was genuinely, I knew something was up, but I wasn't aware. So it was, to me, it was a surprise. This story was a surprise constantly, which is nice, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to tell this story.
Same.
And okay, then Ditto, over to you then. As you were filming that, what were some of the elements that you wanted to underline as you were pulling the story together?
Well, I mean, the whole thing was about it staying real, and honest, and, it's weird sometimes when you film, you make a decision, and I tend to go on boring, I'm like, nah, this is boring. It should be boring. This is real, and it should be honest. But when you have good actors and stuff going on, sometimes it isn't boring, That's the way I kind of like it. And I thought every step of it was real, and that's all that ever matters to me. So getting through these tough situations, it's not bad lieutenant violence, which I love. It's a very complicated violence. You're in your house, and things like that are happening with the family. So the situation between the husband and wife over here and the child was it's very complicated, and I kind of enjoy that, and to me, it's the ultimate acting, It's like, how are we going to walk this line of ultra-violence with compassion? It's a very tricky thing to do, and I think it's undervalued. I'm bad with words.
Well, as a filmmaker, when you're putting this together, I mean, there were some stunning visuals, and the use of color or lack of color, the monochromatic look of some of it, and the shadows and that. How much of this was in the script? Well, not necessarily. How much did you visualize after you read the script?
Shelley looks at the camera. I peek through it every once in a while. I don't know what's going on. I just figured out that change the mag mean film when film went out of business, so it's all kind of new. But I like to look around and find cool locations and say, wow, this looks pretty screwed up, You figure out how to shoot it, I'm a fan of acting. I like to watch it and sort of say, hey, man, maybe that's kind of corny, or things like that. But as far as the visuals, it is very important. I underplay it, but it's very important to me, of course. But it's always about somewhat finding a reality to it all for me, It was very tricky in this film because we're walking a line, Like I said, the way the old Twilight Zones do, or even Planet of the Apes, I didn't think about the messages in the old Planet of the Apes. I just liked that apes were taking over the world. And it looked pretty damn real. I like the old ones. But, so yeah, it's important. But Shelley could talk about those shadows. They just happen.
All right, we've got time for only a couple more questions, so put your hand up. We'll get a microphone to you. In the meantime, Ditto, you said you liked acting. Talk some more about some of the other actors in the casting. Gary Oldman, for instance, and some of the others who formed the core of the ensemble.
I mean, we had Gary Oldman for 3 days, and we filmed him and Shia out in a day. It's like Jordan shows up and he dunks on you, and you kind of say that's what happens, you know. It's corny to go up here and say how good he is. You know, this turns into a big kiss-ass festival very easily. But he is that good. I'm here to witness it in person. And these guys, I already said enough good things about them, but I can't say enough, but I'll stop because it gets really freaking annoying. Clifton Collins is like incredible, and I love him. And then you have Tori Kittles. You try to find the best that you can, and every role matters to me. I don't care who you are. You know, if you're a token booth clerk, I got my friend Anthony Randazzo in Brooklyn who shows up and he knows how to be a token booth clerk. You know, they all matter, and I love it so much I can't even tell you. Watching it, it kind of gets me off. You know.
We should talk. I feel like we should talk more about Charlie, though. Finding Charlie.
Oh my God, yeah, Charlie Shotwell.
That was that was amazing because we were very involved in it, and we got to meet with and act with a handful of kids, and Charlie was instantly. We were like, "That's our kid." Yeah, I mean,
kid's freaking 6 years old. When I was 6, I think I was banging into walls at best.
No, yeah.
It was a very hard film to make, and but also, I'm gonna stop at the kiss-ass situation, but that's tough stuff. You have a little boy under a situation with a father and mother, and I don't know how the hell they did it. It was very hard to film. I tell you, on being on the other side of the camera, I couldn't bear it. Every once in a while, you let the camera roll, and I'm like, I'm not a human being for letting this roll, but keep rolling, you know. But it was really, and that kid is a machine, man. Really, he knows how to get there, and honestly, and he's a very loving kid. He wasn't a rotten kid like me, so he had a beautiful quality to him that allowed all that sort of borderline sappy stuff that I enjoy. It's kind of beautiful.
We have a question back here.
Charlie's the man.
Genevieve Hassan, BBC News. Question for Shia and Kate. Funnily enough, also about Charlie. Shia, you started your career as a child actor. Kate, you started relatively young as well. Did you have any advice for Charlie in terms of career going forward or fame? Because obviously he's going to be thrust into the spotlight now after this film.
I have no advice for Charlie. He's a great actor. He's a great actor. Strong kid.
And he's only 6.
He's only 6.
I think he's 7 now. Yeah.
7.
He's grown up.
I think he could probably give all of us advice. Yeah.
All right. One more question over here.
Again, for Shia and Kate, do you ever get Star Trek, like having Gary Oldman on the set, and how it feels to be on the other end when people, approach you on the street being a celebrity? What it means?
It worked for us in these scenes. The intimidation thing worked. I mean, Gary's my friend now. I think I was more intimidated the first time we did it. But both, you play into it. But he's also he's like this father figure for me. It's more than just an actor. Like, he's a really tender, sweet man. And that's not to naysay the hard Gary, because there's a hard Gary too. But he's not hard with me. He's like really sweet with me, and always has been. So I look up to him, but he's also he's not shy about throwing love around. He's in my corner. It feels like that. It's not just some actor relationship thing. But yeah, as an actor, he's very intimidating, and I don't really receive the kind of reverence that he receives. I mean, he's revered. It's different. But yeah, that's the goal one day. You hope.
Okay, Man Down is a festival gala presentation. As I said, it will have its festival premiere tonight at 6:30 at Roy Thompson Hall. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you all for coming.